This is USVI News, your Virgin Islands connection.
There is much work to be done as we continue to improve the quality of life for all Virgin Islanders. But together, we got this. As I stand here tonight, I am happy to report that the state of the territory is stronger than ever and only getting stronger.
The governor addresses the territory this week in the 2022 State of the Territory Address, touching on everything from tourism to COVID to the economy. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for joining us for USVI News. I'm Emily Matson. From the economy to WAPA in Lime Tree Bay Refinery, restoring drag racing in St. Croix, a rise in crime in the Virgin Islands, to revitalization in the entire territory. Governor Albert Bryan Jr. touched on all of those topics and many more during his fourth State of the Territory address. An address he made Monday night as the U.S. Virgin Islands and the nation tried to make a comeback from a deadly and disruptive global pandemic. Our USVI News' Ali Bourne-Vanek has more on some of the important topics the governor addressed.
The Governor's State of the Territory address covered several different areas and strategies of the Brian Roach administration. COVID was a big part of what the governor had to share, reporting on finding the balance between keeping the people of the Virgin Islands safe as well as their livelihood. Health-wise, he shared that the Virgin Islands has led the nation when it comes to making sure that everyone has access to the COVID vaccine.
While we may all want to be done with COVID, COVID is certainly not done with us. The biggest weapon in our battle to withstand the COVID-19 pandemic last year was the availability of vaccines. We were the first jurisdiction in the nation to make them widely available to everyone. The easy access to free vaccination protected thousands of Virgin Islanders from the worst health effect of the COVID virus.
Tourism was another big area that the governor covered. He shared that the Department of Tourism's response to COVID has served as a leading example for other islands, sharing that since the pandemic, the territory has won numerous tourism awards, including Most Innovative Destination of the Year.
By October 2021, the economy had already regained almost 95% of the jobs lost during the pandemic, and the unemployment rate fell to 8%, a full 5.6 points from the initial hike. Visitor volume recovered nearly 80% from its low in 2020, and we started to draw regional and national attention as to how well we were doing despite COVID. We can proudly report that our efforts to keep America's Caribbean open and protect the livelihoods of those of us who depend on the hospitality industry have been very successful. Throughout the pandemic, the U.S. Virgin Islands continued to win accolades for its visitor experience as a travel destination.
Many more topics, including financial, education, hurricane recovery, and GERS were also shared. We'll have more on that in the coming days, but ultimately, Governor Bryan shared hope for the future, saying that as long as we continue to lay a solid foundation, stay safe, opportunities will unfold. In St. Thomas, Ali Bourne-Vanek, USVI News.
Now to the latest active COVID-19 case counts here in the territory, which, while they're still high, they continue to decrease. According to the latest numbers from the Virgin Islands Department of Health, there are 711 active COVID cases territory-wide, with 403 active cases on St. Croix, 262 on St. Thomas, and 46 on St. John. Dr. Anthony Fauci says the U.S. is now going in the right direction when it comes to containing the Omicron surge. Fauci cautions against overconfidence, but says the U.S. wave looks like it's going in the right direction. But that doesn't mean we're in the clear just yet, as deaths, which we know are a lagging indicator, are still on the rise.
Free COVID test kits and free high-quality masks starting to make their way to Americans as Omicron cases fall sharply in the Northeast, a sign that the worst of this wave could be behind us soon.
There are still some states in the southern states and western states that continue to go up. But if the pattern follows the trend that we're seeing in other places, such as the Northeast, I believe that you will start to see a turnaround throughout the entire country.
The strategy for what comes next is coping.
Control means you're not eliminating it, you're not eradicating it, but it gets down to such a low level into the general respiratory infections that we have learned to live with.
But the death toll climbs, again averaging more than 2,000 daily, with vaccinated people experiencing mild symptoms, if any at all. There are more calls to change the thinking when it comes to restrictions.
It's time at this crucial, pivotal moment to better calibrate harms, to weigh the harms of the virus itself against the harms of the restrictions.
Virginia's governor saying parents can opt into or out of school mask requirements as 7 major districts file suit to stop that order. Schools shouldn't get rid of masks just yet, according to former FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb.
So to withdraw it right at the peak of the epidemic, I think it's imprudent. We should wait. I think within 2 weeks we'll be able to make that decision.
Gottlieb later tweeting, as conditions improve in U.S., we must be willing to relax provisions as aggressively as we implemented them.
Pfizer and BioNTech have begun a clinical trial for its Omicron-specific COVID-19 vaccine. The companies are studying the safety, tolerability, and level of immune response in 1,400 healthy adults. Some patients will be getting the vaccine as both a primary dose and a booster dose. Despite this new clinical trial, Pfizer does not expect production of the original vaccine to be affected at all. They still plan to produce 4 billion doses in 2022. Pfizer also emphasizes that people who are already boosted have a high level of protection against Omicron. Meantime, COVID-19 antibody drugs from Regeneron and Eli Lilly should no longer be used because they don't work against the Omicron variant. That's according to the Food and Drug Administration. It's revoking emergency authorization for both drugs, which were purchased by the federal government and have been administered to millions of Americans with COVID-19. If the drugs prove effective against future variants, the FDA said it could reauthorize their use. The regulatory move was expected because both drug makers had said the infusion drugs are less able to target Omicron because of its mutations. A look at your local forecast is straight ahead here on USVI News. Plus, being a new parent is tough, but many new moms are running into an issue with finding the food they need on the shelves in order to feed their babies, making their jobs, of course, even harder. What's happening with a formula shortage nationwide? When USVI News comes right back. Some new parents looking to buy baby formula say they are finding empty shelves. It's happening across the country, and apparently it's been going on for weeks now. Reporter Annie Warner investigates why it's happening.
He's a little happy boy.
San Francisco residents Irene and Mario Anhook are the parents of Marlo, a 10-month-old boy. His mom can't breastfeed, so from birth they've fed him a liquid infant formula from Similac, but now say it's in short supply.
We've noticed it being difficult to find maybe a couple months ago, 2-3 months ago, and then just recently we can't find it. We've tried all the local Targets. We checked Costco's, Costco online, Walgreens, Long's. Can't find it anywhere.
Her husband even drove an hour away. No luck. So the couple switched to the powdered version of the formula, but say Marlo sometimes spits it up or won't finish it.
It's just worrisome a little bit for us because we want to just make sure he's getting all the calories he needs and all the nutrition he needs from the formula because he's not a year yet.
Many parents around the country are reporting the same thing, bare shelves or very low stocks of baby formula, from New York to Washington State. The Infant Nutrition Council of America confirms reports of challenges across supply chains.
It's been worsening a little bit in the last 3-4 weeks.
If you can sell more.
KK DeVay with retail research firm IRI says for major brands of baby formula powder, the average national in-stock rate before the pandemic was 95%. But his firm found as of last week, rates of availability across 10 national retailers ranged from 98% to as low as 75%. Powdered formula was less available in some cities, including Seattle, Wichita, Kansas, and Tucson.
Why are there shortages on infant formula?
Some of the shortages are related to procuring the raw materials, some of it in production, some of it is in packaging, and then labor shortages in the factory, in transportation.
Empty shelves are what mom Tiffany Mannon says she's been finding north of Orlando, Florida.
No matter where we looked, it was sold out.
Her 10-week-old son Corbin was born 6 weeks premature. She says doctors instructed her to feed him a liquid Enfamil product so he'd gain weight. The company helped by sending her free cases of the product. But now she says local stores are out of the liquid and powder versions.
Are you worried?
I am worried. It comes to our minds of once we do run out of this formula, what's going to happen if they're sold out?
Enfamil's maker Reckitt told us they have ample supply of their formula products, but said U.S. baby formula industry-wide sales are up 18%, which is more than double birth rates. The company says in response it's ramping up production and is currently shipping 50% more product to address issues as fast as possible. The manufacturer of Similac products, Abbott, did not respond to our questions about supplies and availability. Neither did Nestle, which makes Gerber products. Tiffany Mannon says she worries with parents like her on the hunt for supplies, some may choose to hoard formula, leaving her to go without.
This is my child. How am I supposed to feed my child if he does not have what he needs to be fed? Because people are either hoarding it or there's product shortage.
We reached out to major retail outlets including Walgreens, Amazon, CVS, and Target. All said they are working with suppliers to cover customer demand. Abbott referred us to the Infant Nutrition Council. That group says manufacturers are working to ensure better availability of infant formula.